Welcome to Brutally Honest Talk Radio, where you will learn about an issue minus the BS. We don't always say what you want to hear, but what you need to hear about the issues of the day. Here's your host, Inger, along with Elmo, with his political insight and commentary.
How are you doing, Elmo?
I'm doing good. I'm excited. This is the first day of the Republican National Convention, and we got a lot of good stuff for you.
Absolutely. It's kind of exciting.
Yeah. Traditionally, I seem to remember that there would be a few weeks between conventions, or that it would be one month, and then the next party would go the following month. And here, they're 2 weeks back to back,
Yeah.
which is good. I think it's going to work in favor of the Republicans for people that think that they may have made their mind up or been influenced by the Democrat convention. They haven't been in the White House. And as they could have told you what they're going to do, and most of what they said was not that, Republicans can come in and say, hey, let's tell you what we did. Let's tell you what we did and where we're going, what we're going to do. And that hopefully right now is the halfway mark.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it is. That is interesting. Yeah, they've had to abbreviate or push everything together because of the timeline and COVID and the pandemic and all that sort of stuff.
Right. So we'll see. And by the time we do the next episode, there'll be a lot to comment on from the Republican convention. So today is the first day of it. Yesterday, Trump announced right to try. And he had a press conference where he came up with a couple other people that were working on COVID-19 and a vaccine and a cure. And there may be two different things. There may be an actual way to treat it or prevent it, and also something after someone gets it. So there's mention of plasma and how a person who has it can be given the plasma of someone who has already had it. This is my understanding from what I saw from the press conference.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, if out of 100 people that are sick with COVID-19 and they are given this plasma, 35 of them are going to get well and are supposed to come right out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have officially authorized this to where, they're telling people, look, if you have already had coronavirus, donate your plasma.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a good thing. And last week, Biden was talking about, we're going to make 100 million test kits and send them out. That's like, I don't even know if that's feasible, but that's the only thing that I heard Biden actually say he was going to do in the fight against the coronavirus, which it's not like anybody was holding back or trying to do less test kits. But so that's all I've heard him say about it.
And is that even possible to do? What is 100 million doses that he's saying he's going to do? I don't know if that many people in the population have, that. Do we have that much?
It'll be done. It'll be finished by the time the next election comes around.
Okay, of course.
And then if you're not going to mandate that people take the test, I mean, I don't know. Would that be like only if someone is having symptoms, or did they say, well, we're only going to check you in or examine you if you have at least 2 or 3 symptoms? And was that because of a lack of having enough test kits and the time and attention that they needed to devote to people that were clearly sick or clearly a threat? At least
Right.
it was like that at the beginning. I think that it's that the help and the aid and the knowledge and understanding has grown more widespread now, that there can be more done at a faster rate.
Definitely, definitely. And but the release of the vaccine, who's going to get it, who's going to be the first to get it, how they're going to do it, that sort of thing, the logistics behind it is going to take some thought. But like I said, that's the
Yeah.
first thing he said he was actually going to do.
Yeah,
And not
right.
hide in his basement, because as far as I know, he's still hiding in his basement. So I guess he's got to come out of his basement if he wins. To
Yeah. Right, right. Or maybe he'll hide in the basement of the White House. Yeah, I
right.
don't know. Hey, they were pushing Dick Cheney around in his wheelchair. But I'm just saying, I guess, metaphorically, Kamala Harris pushing him around in his wheelchair, and then they just get a close up on her and cut him out of the picture.
Basically, basically, they'll
Boy.
Photoshop him out. Oh boy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another story. The Democrats are planning collectively that I was giving him 2 years. The Democrats are giving him one now.
Oh, where'd you
before
hear?
before he would, yeah, just in the commentary of different Democrats who, the consensus about how long they think it would be.
And I was listening. I think it was Mark Levin, and he was
Oh,
saying how, yeah, he's no joke. He was saying how they're keeping Biden off of the campaign trail, and
oh
calling,
yeah.
they're saying the reason is because of COVID. However, and I agree
Yeah.
with him on this completely, Trump is still holding campaign rallies, or campaign events in the midst of COVID. You can put the president 50 feet away from the rest of the crowd. You can have the crowd stand back. You can have it at an airport runway or hangar, and there's plenty of room for everyone to space if they so desire. But if they can't space, obviously they can put on masks and that sort of thing. So, said all that to say that you can still have campaign events. Um, that COVID does not
Hmm.
stop that. The idea that they're not having any campaign events with Joe Biden says a lot. It really does. I don't think that he can pull it off. Honestly, I don't think he can handle it. And it's good to hear you say that at least they're finally admitting that the guy has some mental health issues. That is finally being
Yeah.
admitted.
Most of the Democrat voters surveyed believe that Biden's in the early stages of dementia.
Okay, good. I'm glad they are now admitting it, because I
Yeah.
know Republicans, and we've been saying it for months on end. It's
Oh.
like, come on, y'all, you can't ignore this. They're finally admitting it.
Yeah, and really, if you're gonna let COVID-19 stop you from campaigning and promoting, I feel like you can't preside. You can't be in the Oval Office. I mean, most of the work is not in the White House. I mean, I guess there's like office work, and you're having to sign bills, read things. People are coming to you and doing administrative stuff. But overall, the president is outside of the White House. He is traveling around. He is meeting with people. They have press conferences. What about that? You're not going to have press conferences as a president and brief the country on what's going on. You can't just do the State of the Union once or twice a year.
Absolutely not. You've got to be out amongst the people. Like you said, you're going to be traveling, you're going to be talking with world leaders, you're talking with your cabinet, you're going to be talking with ambassadors. You're not sitting in your office waiting for something to happen as the president.
Yeah,
You are out and about making it happen. And you need
right.
to be able to, and I appreciate Trump for this, and I truly think it's talent that he really thinks quick on his feet, and that and he's so nimble and when it comes to how he
Uh,
thinks, that sort of thing. I mean, he'll
Jumping
fight.
over the candlestick.
Yes, and I just don't see Biden being
No.
able to do that. I really don't, and I can't say
Yeah.
that in his 47 years as a congressperson that he has ever done this. I mean, he just might not have that talent.
You remember in Forrest Gump when they photoshopped Kennedy giving Forrest an award? You know,
Yes.
it's like you could have show Biden shaking hands with Kennedy and it won't be photoshopped. It could be real. That's how far back he goes. I mean,
Yes.
which is, well, it was 60 years ago, but still, he's shaking hands with Nixon. He,
Yeah.
no, nobody, but I've learned it's not about that. And there's a great chunk of the population that doesn't care what someone has done or what they're gonna do. Now you got different groups on the left. You got the gimme crowd that feel like, what are you gonna do for me? What are you gonna give me? Then you got other people that are like, the president is the face of the nation and a figurehead, and I want him to, or her, to be somebody that looks presidential. And there's multiple shallow reasons why someone would vote Democratic. Logic doesn't really enter into it. But I wanted to say, you said something about a comment from Biden about a dog faced pony looking
Soldier.
person.
Yeah, it was at an event and it was prior to COVID and it
Oh,
really kicking in. But he was talking to a voter that attended one of his events, or he was, I don't think it was specifically a rally. I think he was just out
mm,
just meeting voters. They decided they wanted to see him and talk to him. There was some kind of interaction, and he called the person a dog faced pony soldier. That's what he called them. So,
but saying that reminded me of, do you remember this woman who had some kind of a talk show or, a news commentary, a liberal show that was on, and she was talking about Trump real bad, like 2, 3 nights in a row. Okay. Finally, Trump came back and he said, "You look like you had plastic surgery on your face and it hasn't healed yet."
that had hurt.
Look, when he said this, her show went off the air. Her
What?
own ratings plummeted. And by the end of the week, her show was canceled,
Oh my
which is the
God.
reason why I probably can't tell you her name. But
Probably so.
when he said that, I had the visual of, the X cross tapes over the nose and the dark bruises under the eyes, when
Yeah.
somebody gets surgery on their nose or their face and they're waiting for it to heal.
Yes.
Like, man, like, look, this guy pushes back. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You can't just do that. And he's gonna hide behind the statue at the Lincoln Memorial, while you throw stuff at him. He's
No,
not gonna do that.
he is
No,
not.
but that was just funny. It reminded me of when he said that. So to talk about a couple of things that Trump and the Republicans need to do this week with the convention, what they need to mention. They need to mention the terrorists. I would go back to the day of the inauguration when Trump said, "We need to eradicate ISIS, and I will not let you down." And the way he said that, I was sold. I believed him. And you look at what he has done with El Baghdadi and Soleimani. And when there's a terrorist group or a country who is an enemy or trying to attack us, we're going to kill the leader.
Yes.
We're going to cut off the head of the snake and then see how confident the body is to come after us.
Right.
He needs to mention the impeachment, which was a failed attempt to oust him and get him out of there. He won. He's a winner. I'm telling you, they could do one ad where they have the rapper Gucci Mane or Soldier Boy, whoever it is, where it said, "All I do is win, 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 no matter what." When's the last time you seen Trump lose at anything?
Right.
All right. They tried to take him down, and I would think there will be an equal number of Democrats and Republicans that were voting at the impeachment hearings, and he won. He beat that, and that works in Trump's favor because the article of impeachment with treason and the weak things that they had against him, just because they asked him for some information and he said, "No, I don't want to give that to you. You want to get it, go through get a subpoena, or go through a lawyer."
Go through the
to
process.
let's take it to court. And when he reacted that way, they didn't like that.
True. That's very true. Because
They didn't.
when you think of it, the Republicans in the past, and I'll just say generally, have capitulated in one way
Mm,
or another. They're like, oh, okay, kind of thing.
yeah,
Now, the Republicans or the Democrats of the past did not fight as dirty or
yeah,
as relentlessly as they are now. But
yeah.
even then, Republicans still, okay, capitulated. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, but he's not. Like you said, he's hitting back.
Yeah, and I believe that in the campaign and with the ads that he's doing, they're saving the best for last. They started with a few good ones already. They have the string of Democrats that they're showing, including Harris, where they say most of the protests are peaceful, and then you see stuff burning in the background. Yeah. So it's very effective. Whoever's doing that campaign.
Yes, they are. They are. They have their finger on the pulse of whatever is
Yeah.
happening. They really do.
Another thing I like about Trump, I don't know if you remember when North Korea was threatening to blow up Guam and the military base that we have there,
Yeah.
which was really, Kim was the administration, they were testing Trump. They were
Yeah.
testing him early on. You know, see if well maybe let's see if he'll let us shoot nuclear missiles at California every once in a while. So they're threatening to blow up Guam. And this is a thing, that it was heavy in the news and everybody's looking to see what's going to happen. And so Trump was out somewhere and he was about to get on an airplane, like right before he got to the steps. This woman reporter asked him kind of a stupid question. She said, if North Korea attacks Guam, are you going to retaliate?
Mhm.
Trump looked over his shoulder and said, I think we both know the answer to that. And then got on the plane. And every man in America said, yeah. It's a very smart answer. Don't get me to say on camera that I'm going to attack and kill somebody, but he knew that North Korea was listening. All
Yes.
right. Less than a year later, he's sitting down with Kim, the first president since the Korean War ended, because they're scared of him.
Mhm. Yeah.
Kind of like in a gangster movie or something, where the weasel, everybody's in the room and the weasel wants to attack, and you're like, okay, look, we're gonna get taken out too, but you're gonna be the first one to get it.
Right.
By the time they hit us, North Korea will be obliterated because China said that if we attack them, then they will get involved. But they told North Korea, if you attack, you're on your own, which that was a very smart thing to tell them.
Yes, it was. And North Korea, just a quick side note, it's horrible. It's horrible the way they're being treated and what those people have to suffer through. It is horrible. And there have been rumors, I don't know how true it is, of Kim Jong Un, I think that's it, has he's in a coma or he's sickly and that sort of thing. And his sister, and I had no idea he had a sister.
Yeah.
He's handing power over to her, or they're trying to figure all of that out. So it's that is a dark regime, very dark, very wicked.
They got people in concentration camps that they're using as guinea pigs,
Yes,
and
and
they're mixing in poison with their oatmeal, giving it to them just to test out the poison and see actually how long it takes to make somebody sick and kill them.
I wouldn't doubt it. I would
And
not.
then if anyone has a Bible or anyone says that they're a Christian, they pull them out and just kill them on the spot.
Yes, yes,
You know,
it's horrible.
yeah. I wanna go to and mention something from the Democrat convention last week, and it wasn't, at least in our house, we don't have cable. It wasn't on any of the major channels that I could see, like ABC, CBS. So ended up streaming through YouTube on our television.
Okay.
And so there was one night where after the stream was over, the convention or the producers had these two pictures of Obama and Harris side by side. And it
Okay.
said the stream has ended, like it ended 15, 20 minutes ago or whatever. And there was a picture of them. Obama on the left with a nice, pretty purple dress shirt on, split
Mhm.
screen, Harris on the right. So remember what I told you, that in the media, they know that people read from left to right. This is the
Yeah.
message that they're sending. This is the president of the past, or the people who like him. We want to get your attention. And on the right is the future. This is where we're going.
Right.
Biden wasn't on the screen at all.
Wow. That was
This is the
deliberate.
this is the past, this is the future. And when Hillary was running, Obama said, if you voted for me, you need to vote for Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who doesn't vote for Hillary, that is a disgrace to my legacy.
Wow.
Because he was smart enough to know just by the numbers that if he got all the people that voted for him voted for her, then she would have won.
Yes.
So I noticed how they they coupled those two together, like in the same, in the same picture. Like this is the party now. She is who we're trying to go to. She is the party. She is the future.
Definitely. Wow. I
You
and
know,
I didn't know that it happened. That's very interesting. It's something. Hold your thought really quick.
yeah, go ahead.
Something that they have on us. They know how to play the media game. Not
Oh,
only that the media is behind them, but they know how to play that game, and they have imaging down to a science.
it's a strange thing about being a puppet. You know what must be the worst thing about being a puppet is somebody has to stick their hand up there behind all the way to their mouth and make them talk with their hand.
Yeah.
That's a long way. Like, you can't speak for yourself. We're going to speak for you, and this is how we're going to do it. Okay, get ready. Here we come.
Yeah.
You're going to do what I can tell. I've been watching this for so long. I can tell when they're speaking their own thoughts. I mean, Trump, he does it reactionary. He doesn't have time to rehearse because he didn't know what an idiot was about to say. So we know that what he's saying, no, no one in the Republican Party would have told him to say that or to react how he is.
That's true.
You know,
The consultants would have told him to react totally different.
and even if someone is a marionette, it may not be as painful as being a hand puppet, but they're still a puppet. They're just fancier. Yeah.
Exactly.
I found out about a woman named Kim Klacik running for Congress in Maryland. And she made a very good promotional video where she's walking through the streets of Baltimore.
Mhm.
And I wanted to play some of that just for the fact that this is a young black woman who is a Republican and speaking so much truth. And it's a very effective ad. So um, it's kind of long actually. So I'm not starting this from the beginning, but this is should be less than 2 minutes, and you'll see why I like this ad. So let's go to this now.
The Democrat Party have betrayed the black people of Baltimore. If the politicians walk the streets like I do, they would see exactly how their policies and corruption affects us. But they don't want to see it. They don't want you to see this. Go to any Baltimore neighborhood and ask this question. Do you want to defund the police?
No,
No.
absolutely not. I had 3 sons killed in Baltimore City. And I think if we defund the police office, it's going to be worse than that. So, no, I'm opposed to that.
What are you going to defund the police for? Why? How do you defend your city, your community? Families are losing people.
It's not just Baltimore. The worst place for a Black person to live in America is a Democrat-controlled city. It's 2020. Name a blue city where Black people's lives have gotten better. Try. I'll wait. Look at this. How are children supposed to live here and play here? Democrats think Black people are stupid. They think they can control us forever. That we won't demand better and that we'll keep voting for them forever, despite what they've done to our families and our communities. Are they right? I'm Kim Klacik, and I'm running for Congress because I actually care about Black lives. All Black lives matter. Our communities matter. Baltimore matters. And Black people don't have to vote Democrat.
All right. I just got to take a couple seconds and put that out. So it was very refreshing to see that. And I'll make one comment about that and then whatever you would like to say about it. But I like how she's saying, look at our communities. Look at the way they treat us. Like, I'm Black like you. We are in the same group. But the Democrats, which is not part of my group, you know, when she's saying Democrats, she's talking about they. And when she's talking about our community, she's talking about Black people, like, I'm one of you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a very effective, you know, way to talk. And then I like how she ended it with, just because you're Black, you don't have to vote Democrat.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know what it is about Black folks and voting Democrat. There seems to be, they feel like they're going to lose something if they vote Democrat. And I'm not talking about the
yeah.
Joe Biden, you ain't Black kind of thing, but it's really a mindset that if they don't vote Democrat, that something devastating is going to happen. It's really odd, and I'll tell you, the first time I voted Republican, it was a long time ago. The very first time I did, it's you just go in there and you vote, and you come out, and you're still the same. You know, nothing's
Right.
changed. It's really a mindset. It's really people have been brainwashed into thinking a certain way. And I guess also feeling that they, how do I put this? That they don't want to go against whatever. It may be family, it may be
Mhm.
friends, it may be the peer pressure that they're under. But what I'm hearing lately is that folks are, one, that they're not saying who they vote for, or two, they're saying they're voting Democrat, but are actually going to vote Republican.
Yeah,
And
I can
three,
understand.
they're not just saying anything at all, period, one way or the other.
Right.
And that they're not talking politics, they're going to vote Republican. And that's just going to be that.
I
So,
think one thing that's helping is there are a lot of Black people that have voted Republican more in 50 years, have voted, more Blacks have voted Republican than any time in the last 50 years for president. And many of them have been outspoken and have told their friends, got in arguments, whatever, and they said, this is why. Every Black person's voting Republican, there's a reason, and we can usually list them. So now with Trump, with what's happened over the last 4 years, those people can go to their friends, go to the same people and say, see, look at these numbers. Look at the things that he's done, because he had never been in politics at all before.
right.
So some people felt like they were taking a gamble. So now they can say, look, he's proven himself. And then seeing that there are a group of other people, like that advertisement that I played was actually a segment of ABL's channel from his page. So you got ABL, you got Jericho Green, you got Officer Tatum and Candace Owens and many others, that it's, you know, people can feel like they're, you know, you don't have to be a part of a Black conservative group. You just have to know that you don't have to be a part of tradition.
Right.
But yeah, some black people act like there's this thing that happened where their grandmother or the great grandpappy was dying on their deathbed, and the last thing they said to him was, "Boy, whatever you do in life, don't you ever vote Republican." And then, with their last breath, and then they're gone. Like, this is their last wishes, their last rights. Yeah, I
Oh,
can't betray that, because many people have been raised to do that. I don't tell my kids what to do or how to vote. We barely talk about politics. And I got two kids that are voting or that are old enough to vote this year for the first time in a presidential election.
wow.
So I just show them the truth and the facts and make sure they know where I am and where I stand, and then let them decide. I don't want to indoctrinate them, and the party could change in 20 years, and then they're in the mindset or in the groove of just voting Republican when they should be voting conservative. that's
Yeah.
that's who you want to be like. That's who you want to go after, you know I mean, man, can you imagine what it must have been like for Joe Lieberman and Zell Miller?
Right.
I mean, if it was back in the day, they'd be getting tomatoed every day.
Yes.
And then eventually with that kind of treatment and pressure, eventually you're gonna leave the party.
Right. And when you think about, like I said, the Zell Millers, the Sam Nuns, and I think Lieberman, I think he was an independent, but he did side with the Democrats.
Oh, I
And you
didn't
think
know that. I
about
thought
their
he was,
politics.
yeah.
I think he was. You think about their politics and what they stood for, and then you think, what is it, 20 years later now, and what the Democrat Party stands for, or at least what they purport to stand for, and it's
Hmm?
like two diametrically opposed things. I
Yeah.
mean, they've turned left, so far left, so fast, and so far. It's just, it's astounding.
Yeah. Hang on, everybody. We're making a sharp left turn and we're not looking back. Take it down the rear view, and we're heading off this cliff.
Yes.
Right. I don't know if you remember Jesse Jackson. He was at some kind of a forum. It was set up like Congress, where they have different rows and levels and desks, and a group of people. They were speaking somewhere, and he is a situation where he thought that his microphone was off and is actually on. I'm gonna bring that up in another situation soon. So he was talking to somebody and he said, "Yeah, last night I was walking down the street and I heard some footsteps behind me, and I turned around and I was relieved to find out that it was four white men instead of four black men." And so, well, you know what happened? The next day he apologized. Why
Mhm.
why are you apologizing? There's a reason for that. I mean, you got money, you live in a nice neighborhood, but if you have not experienced it yourself, you at least know the world that we live in, and you've seen crime, you know someone that's been a victim of crime.
Yeah.
And it's not just that, it's also the way that someone is acting, how they're talking, how they're carrying themselves, and the part of town that you just may happen to be in, whether it be rough or it may be nice or affluent. We're talking about Jordan Peterson before we started recording, and he said a lot of great things. And one thing that he said that I really like is, I'm going to live as if God really exists.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like he quotes the Bible all the time, but he never said that he's a Christian. But he believes that there's a lot of truth in it. I don't know what he believes about God and on a spiritual level. I'm just saying that's a good, that wasn't even one of his 12 rules in his book, but that's a good rule to live by, because if you live as if the God described in the Bible is real, you're gonna have a good life. There's
Yes.
gonna be a long list of things that you're not gonna do. I mean, bad things. We have the 10 commandments, which most Christians can't even live by 8 of the 10 commandments.
Right.
You know?
The
So
least
look,
they
just
want to
that's
abide
just
by.
one page. That's just one page out the Bible.
You're right.
Let that be your child. Let that be your New Year resolution. It's the 10 commandments.
Yes. And I think there's a saying, I'd rather live as if God exists and be wrong than live as or and then live as if he doesn't exist and be wrong. I think I got that twisted up.
I know
But
what you
something to
mean.
the
Right.
effect, if God doesn't exist and you're trying to live a right life and that sort of thing, then you still come out okay. But if he exists and you're out here cutting the fool and acting like he doesn't exist, and then when you pass away, you find out you're wrong, that's a long time to be wrong.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah.
Forever reminded. At
Forever.
least on Earth, when we're alive and walking around, you get third-degree burns. The feeling drops off after a few minutes. you know, I mean, you lose your nerve endings, and it's just your body can't even take it. But this is like a torturing of the soul.
Yes. Yes.
I'm gonna throw out here, since we mentioned religion or Christianity. There's a preacher who said that God is not a male, and this preacher is Andy Stanley, the son of Charles Stanley. All
Whoa.
right, he comes on Saturday nights,
Mm-hmm.
and I just happened to be like coming through the room, and it was on television.
Uh-huh.
And so first he said that God is not a man, which got my attention, and I understand and agree with that. I didn't know what he was saying, because God is not a man in the sense of being a human.
Right.
And there's a part of the Bible that said God is not a man that he would lie. Okay, understand that. And then, like I said, it turned my head. And then right after that, he said God is not a male. And I
Oh,
had some work to do, so I wasn't able to listen to much more after that. But I'm like, okay, all right, what are we doing now? We playing into this thing like, I told you what the transsexual person said, and whatever you think or whatever you want to be, it's not about being a gender. Well, it is, but you know what I'm saying, in the form of on earth, we have men and women, and obviously people procreate. And for him to say that God is not a male, if I were able to speak to him directly, I would say, well, Bible refers to God as the Father.
yes.
Is there
He
a difference between a father and a mother?
absolutely.
That's the first thing. And then it calls Jesus the Son.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not just that Mary had a baby, and whoever that baby was going to be a savior, or there's a 50-50 chance it was going to be a boy or a girl. No. Before Jesus was born, when he was in heaven, he was the Son. He was a male. I I go toe to toe with TD Jakes because I know the Bible. I'm not intimidated by these cats.
Yeah. Mhm.
Really, I mean, whatever you're saying, and it's very simple because there's one truth. Even if you're a carpenter and you have the carpenter's Bible or handbook, there's got to be something that's your foundation for doing what you're doing. And
Mhm.
then I would say, all right, well, let's go to the source of what you were taught and what you were trained. Let's just go by that because I believe that this is the truth. And if you don't want to believe that, that's between you and God. But if I feel like if I didn't believe what's in the Bible, I wouldn't be a very good Christian.
Right. That's the source. That's the foundation.
But just to hear him say that in the age of transgenderism and that some people there is no such thing as gender and it doesn't matter. Wow, it makes all the difference. It's going to make a big difference in someone's life just just as far as the role that they play and how they live and the things that may happen to them.
Absolutely. And there's a reason God made men and God made women. And there's a reason specifically God makes someone a male or a female.
There's a purpose.
There's a purpose for it. Absolutely. Wow. And that coming out of a pastor's mouth.
I saw in the news that President Trump's brother passed away.
Yes.
I think his name was Robert Trump,
It was Robert, yes.
and I didn't even know Trump had a brother.
I did in his book, The Art of the Deal. I read
Oh,
that last year,
right.
the year before. It mentioned, I want to say it mentioned both of them, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I think he had, I think it was a younger brother, or maybe it was an older one.
Yeah,
And
I
this
think
one
he,
was
I think he was
alcoholic.
younger than him. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the younger one passed. He was an alcoholic or something to
Oh,
that.
he had two brothers.
I think yes, one
Oh,
that had an alcohol problem and passed away
mm,
from that. And
wow.
of course, he has a sister.
Oh, yeah. It's funny you should mention that. Because just over the weekend, it came out that his sister had a phone conversation that was recorded by her niece,
Yes.
like secretly recorded, like she supposedly didn't know was being recorded, which if she did not know, then the niece or whoever she was talking to on the phone has got to be working with the Democrats. I'm sorry. You can't have more perfect timing than this.
No, you can't. You cannot. And then again, this is family. So why are
Yeah.
you putting family business out in the street like this?
Well, it's the message is supposed to be if his own people or his own family don't like him and they used to live with him and they're related to him, then they must be right. Yeah.
Yeah, they're opportunists. That's what they are.
I mean, his sister's name is Mary with two R's, Trump Berry, something like that.
Yes.
I guess she got her maiden name and her her married name, and she wrote a book. I don't know if this book just came out, but they showed this book with a picture of Trump on the front where he was about 10 years old, looking like Barron Trump,
Hmm.
and it says something like how my family made a monster. That's the name of the book.
Oh my gosh.
you know, and all the gossip people and people that only person that would read that is somebody that's looking for dirt, looking for something juicy. Or they want to find out something about a famous person that's negative that they haven't found out yet.
Yes, that's it. Just to dig up more dirt. That's absolutely it. Seriously.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't know if they're the people behind this are trying to take votes away from Trump. If they were, they probably probably should have talked about the book 2 or 3 months ago, so the people would have time to read it before the election. I don't know if they really have time now, but anyway, the writer and the publishing company, somebody's going to make some money off of it.
And that's all that this is about, money. It's a shame. Because it's still family. At the end of the day, longer president, he's still family. And if you had that much of an issue with him, approach him. I mean, obviously he doesn't have a problem telling people how he feels. So you shouldn't have a problem telling him how you feel and then him listening and y'all go back and forth about it. I mean, but carrying out in the street like that is just so disrespectful.
And I know that Trump got along with his parents and he had respect for them because of how he spoke about them, his acceptance speech once he got elected. And they're both going, of course, but he just said, kind of what I would say about my parents, that I was raised by two great people. I was lucky to have them, that kind of talk.
Yes.
So the family made a monster. Okay, some of the family may have not liked him or gotten along with him, but he got along with the head of the family. Did you? Yeah. Got to jump in and talk about the recent looting in Chicago. Usually, it's a pattern of social unrest, and when there is a riot, that looting will follow. I didn't really hear any mentioning of rioting. Rioting is, destroying of property, and there was a lot of that, but also just oh man, millions of dollars in damage and looting. So I'm gonna play what the mayor had to say about that.
In Gold Coast neighborhoods, as well as our commercial district around North and Clybourne. These individuals engaged in what can only be described as brazen and extensive criminal looting and destruction. And to be clear, this had nothing to do with legitimate, protected First Amendment expression. These were not poor people engaged in petty theft to feed themselves and their families. This was straight up felony criminal conduct.
Criminals took to the street with the confidence that there would be no consequences for their actions. And I, for one, refuse to allow these cowardly acts to hold our city hostage. CPD will not stand by as our beautiful downtown becomes someplace that people fear.
All right. So that was the chief of police speaking after Lightfoot and her addressing the local thugs. So there was destruction of property. This is on Michigan Avenue, the Magnificent Mile. And in the video, they show some of the destruction. So you got these high-end stores like Armani and Saks Fifth Avenue with the glass broken out, and they've lost millions of dollars. The first thing I'll say about it, the statement from Black Lives Matter, their statement was, these people are justified in doing this because black people are owed reparations.
What? Wow.
That was Black Lives Matter's statement.
Wow.
They're encouraging this. And they think that reparations should be paid in the form of gator loafers and handbags and jewelry and designer shirts and jackets.
Yes, clothing, accessories.
Right.
Yes, that's
right.
That's what 400 years of slavery is worth.
Now I can sleep at night. Now the scales have been balanced because of this. And they have insurance, so it's okay. It's all right. They have insurance. They'll get their money back or get the merchandise back. Right. But they're going to pull up their roots like a gardener and then go to Hoffman Estates or go to Peoria or somewhere, because with all that money on Michigan Avenue, the message to these business owners is the police cannot protect you, no matter how much they want to. When thousands of people take to the streets and start acting like savages, there's more savages than there are cops.
Yes.
And it was obviously organized, because it all happened at once like an explosion, and people were backing up U-Hauls and other trucks and vans to these stores.
Oh my goodness.
When I say clean them out, I'm talking about they're trying to, I don't know, have enough clothes for the next 20 years.
Yes, it does. And on that note, what are your final thoughts?
This is what happens when you take the father out of the home. And I would place bets. They said they made 100 arrests in Chicago that night, which is probably a fraction of all the people that were involved in crime. You know how roaches are when the lights come on. You know, if it's a lot of them, they're going to scatter and you can't catch them all. so, but this is what happened. I'm just saying that I would bet you that most of these criminals that were out here doing this stuff does not have a father in the home. I mean, someone acting in the role of a father. I don't mean someone being passive, but someone, number one, teaching right from wrong, and number two, being a consequence.
Yes.
If you are bad, every child, and my sons included, the twins are 13 now, and they're more scared of me than they are of the police.
Good.
The police are going to be nice, upstanding gentlemen to them compared to the punishment they will get from me.
Mm-hmm.
And if either one of the twins broke a law up until the time they turn 18, if they break a law or do something stupid, the police are welcome to take me to jail for a month because it's my fault.
Mm-hmm.
And why am I mentioning this? Black Lives Matter said in their mission statement, which is on their website, they want to remove the man from the home and take the father out of the family.
Yes, they
It's
did.
tied together.
It is certainly tied together, and to piggyback on what you said, when there's no father in the home, the kids don't understand the authority. Not saying that
Yeah.
mom can't be the authority figure,
Right.
but understanding, like I said, authority and consequences. That's,
Right.
you know,
Look,
mom.
my father had a deep voice like James Earl Jones. It scared the hell out of me. I'm telling you. And it's a good thing that it did. And my mother, even though, she could get loud and yell, we would go back and forth and I would try to negotiate with her. When my father spoke, it's like, yes, sir. Nothing else to say. What do you want me to do again? All right. And jump right in. So I'm just connecting that. That's the root of the problem. And it's been at least a couple of months since the George Floyd case. Why is this happening now? I really don't know. Why did it take so long for this to happen unless it was scheduled?
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. There was another shooting today in Wisconsin, of a black man. I think he was shot 7 times. Of course, there's video. Don't know the details of the case. That's just all that I've heard. So I'm sure there's going to be some backlash from that, from the Black Lives Matter folks who are, like you said, bent on taking the father out of the home. And in this particular case, with I think it was in Wisconsin, there were children in the car. I'm not sure how many kids in the car, but there were kids in the car that supposedly witnessed this. So not taking a stand one way or the other, because I don't know what happened. But
Right.
yeah, look for.
I know you said you don't know a lot of the details, but I just wondering if you heard the one who shot the man was a police officer, or did it say that in the story?
I think if he what the one who shot the man was a police officer.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to Brutally Honest Talk Radio. If there's a topic you'd like us to cover, reach out at bruthonest@gmail.com. That's BRUT, honestradio@gmail.com.
Leave a review for us wherever you listen to this podcast. And we look forward to talking to you next week.